Let your curiosity rise.
Mad Bricks webcast,
Where the human spirit flies. Mad Bricks webcast. Where the human spirit flies.
Welcome to the Medmix webcast. This is Ramana Raju. I'm the host. We have a very interesting guest. His background is fascinating. Without a further ado, let me introduce to him, to you. So is actually Susan, my co-host, is traveling somewhere, and then. So I'm missing some of my co-hosts. In fact, it would have been much better. But anyway, I'm going to carry the shoulders, all the stress but I'm getting a doctor who knows how to release the stress, how you can make release the stress. So I'm going to bring him. Let me introduce him first. He's let me this is let me tell you this very important thing I just come to know about him. He is a very one of the famous celebrity we have. Is Dr. Deepak Chopra's brother. He is his own brother. He is the younger brother of Dr. Deepak Chopra. He is a 77-year young and energetic. With the coffee is the longevity is the key. That's what he said. I'm a coffee drinker, so I'm going to be really honored to introduce him. Let me introduce you. Our guest today is Dr. Sanjiv Chopra, a distinguished professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School and an internationally recognized expert in liver diseases, hepatologist. He previously served in the faculty dean for continuing medical education at Harvard Medical School and has taught and mentored physicians around the world. Dr. Chopra is also an accomplished author, a celebrated speaker, and the editor of the hepatology section of the Up to Date, a widely used clinical resource for physicians. His work spans medicine, leadership, happiness, and longevity. Please join me in welcoming the extraordinary Dr. Sanjiv Chopra. Welcome, Dr. Chopra.
Oh, thank you so very much for that very kind introduction. I'm delighted to be on the show
Yeah.
and to discuss with you whatever you want me to talk about: coffee, longevity, happiness, purpose, um, meditation, any of those topics.
Mentioned. Just give me some of your background with Dr. Deepak Chopra as your brother. He's a famous celebrity. So
Yeah, so
tell
my
me
brother and
background.
I grew up all over India. Our father was in the Army Medical Corps. He was a physician. He was a cardiologist, the most brilliant physician I've ever come across. And every 3 years, he would get posted, and we would pack up and join a new school in a different town. So I was born in Pune, but I went to school in Jabalpur, in Shillong, in Jammu, in Delhi. Then I did my pre-med. I went to St. Columbus High School, graduated from there, then did my pre-med at Hansraj College, and then joined the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in 1966. That's an incredible
Holy.
60 years ago. And then I came to Boston to America in 72 with my wife, classmate of mine, pediatrician. And we moved to Boston, and we were in New Jersey for a year. Then we moved to Boston in 73, and I've been in Boston since 73. And I've been very fortunate to have the most amazing teachers and mentors pack my parachute. They're the ones who really furthered my career. So I live with a lot of gratitude. And in fact, there's a conference called Current Clinical Issues in Primary Care Medicine. And at one time there were 7 of these. And Harvard Medical School, we had a team of amazing primary care physicians. And then the dean asked me to be in charge of that team. And we did courses in 7 cities. In California at Anaheim with UCLA, in Baltimore with Johns Hopkins, and Houston with a university there, and Chicago, Fort Lauderdale. So I would give talks and give keynotes on liver disease, my specialty. And then my team one day said, Sanjiv, you're a pretty amazing, interesting leader. Why don't you give a talk on leadership? So I prepared a talk and I invited five of my professors to critique it. And they all gave me very sound advice. And they said, this is a great talk. So I had the confidence, even before I gave the talk, that this would be a nice talk. And I gave it in Anaheim first, 7,000 people happened to get a standing ovation. Boston, I gave it to 5,000 clinicians. And my publisher, Tom Dunn from St. Martin's Press in New York, was sitting in the front row. And at the end of the talk, again, not a good storytelling, got a standing ovation. And Mark Aronson, professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School, moderating, said, Sanjeev, the first 8 questions are, have you written a book about this? So I said, no, but I'm thinking about it. And Tom Dunn comes up to me at the end. He says, did you plant that question? I said, come on, Tom, I wouldn't do that. He said, before midnight, you'll get an invitation from me um, inviting you to write a book on leadership and with an advance. So it's amazing how these things happen.
Yeah, that's in the genes. Is a hats off to your father. You and the Dr. Deepak Chopra both became celebrities in a way that is. Yeah, so before I dwell into a little bit of hepatology, a little bit, let me ask you: fatty liver disease. Everybody is talking about. You are the master of it. What is this fatty liver disease, and what is affect the body? And is it a genetic or is it controllable? What is the fatty liver disease? Just a
So I saw fatty liver disease emerging and becoming a burgeoning epidemic more than 20 years ago. And I wrote a review article in the Annals of Internal Medicine with an intern and one of my colleagues at Harvard Medical School. And the paper was accepted in 5 days. It was called Non Alcoholic Steatohepatitis, the Burgeoning Epidemic. My intern is now a full clinical professor at Harvard Medical School, Sunil Sheth. What a joy it is to see your students excel so much.
yeah.
So we used to call it was entitled Non-Alcoholic Steatohepatitis, the Burgeoning Epidemic. The name has been changed recently and it's called Metabolic Associated Steatotic Liver Disease. So most people have metabolic syndrome, which includes hypertension, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, obesity, type 2 diabetes. And the initial stage is they develop extra fat in the liver. So that's called steatosis. Then they can get inflammation, and then that can lead to scarring. And if there's lots of scarring, islands of liver cells are totally surrounded by scar tissue. We call it cirrhosis. And then they're at risk for liver cancer, liver failure, need for liver transplant. So, what's happened is the lifestyle all over the world, people are not exercising, they're eating the wrong foods, they're getting overweight and obese. 1.5 billion people in the world are estimated to have metabolic associated steatotic liver disease.
It is not limited to the Indian genes or anything like that.
No, no, no. Indians can get diabetes at a lower BMI. We need to change the way we think of BMI and obesity in the Indian population, but it's rampant in India.
Yeah.
And there's 6-year-olds getting fatty liver, 16-year-olds getting inflammation, 28-year-olds on a liver transplant list. What? So, and it turns out the key treatment is weight loss. So when people have bariatric surgery for morbid obesity, or now they're taking the new GLP-1 agonist and lose weight, the liver disease can reverse, become normal. It also turns out, two very good studies, that people with this condition who drink coffee have the least amount of hepatic fibrosis or scarring. So coffee is amazingly hepatoprotective,
You
protects
know
the
that
liver.
that Chopra. Let's before I get into the coffee system, I want to ask you what what is your idea about that liver disease in this country, or the liver transplant, liver transplantation. All these are is going to go increase as we grow older. Is it alcohol? How much big is alcohol related? How much big is non-alcoholic related? Is it gen, all other combination is a complex disease, fatty liver disease, or just we think GLP-1 is a good solution. You think that is one of the best solutions came out of the whole recently about the GLP-1?
Yeah. So, liver disease afflicts more than 2 billion people in the world. And as you know, it can be related to drinking excess alcohol. Then, this non alcoholic fatty liver disease or MASL. The most common genetic disorder known to man is called hemochromatosis, where extra iron gets deposited in many parts of the body, including the liver, and it can lead to cirrhosis and liver cancer and need for transplant. Now, what happened during the COVID pandemic is that people were sitting at home and they were not happy, and they were watching television and eating a lot of food, ultra processed food. So,
Yeah.
metabolic associated steatotic liver disease went through the roof. People were drinking. So, alcoholic cirrhosis went through the roof. The
Yeah.
two most common indications for liver transplantation in our country are alcoholic related liver disease and metabolic associated steatotic liver disease.
Dr. Chopra, I'm from southern India. I was started doing coffee is a very common in Madras coffee, in the
Sure.
Andhra Pradesh. Coffee is even I was very kid, I started drinking coffee is a primary source of my morning wake up call. So, what is the magic of tell me what is the chemical compounds involved, or I after I came here, I've seen so many studies on coffee. I didn't know who are the authors are. And now I realize it that you're one of the eminent authors of the coffee on coffee. Tell me about the coffee's structure and why
Yeah, so
coffee is
sure.
magic.
So the coffee story is actually magical. I've written a book called Coffee the Magical Elixir, Facts That Will Astound and Perk You Up. And as a liver specialist, more than 20 years ago, I got intrigued when I read an article in one of our good scientific journals that people who drank coffee, it appeared to protect the liver. They had lower levels of liver enzymes. When I go see a primary care physician once a year, they check our blood and they check what we call liver function tests: ALT, AST, alphos, bilirubin, albumin, protein, platelet count. ALT and AST, indicators of liver damage, are lower in people who drink coffee. Okay, interesting. Next study came out, they have less scarring. Next study came out that if you drink 2 cups of regular coffee a day, you have 50% reduction in hospitalization and mortality from chronic liver disease. The next study came out that it lowers the risk of primary liver cancer, which is, a leading cancer. In some parts of the world, it is the number one cause of cancer mortality.
Hmm.
Globally, it's the third leading cause of cancer mortality. Wow, coffee has all these benefits. What is in it? So it turns out there are 1,000 constituents in coffee. Only one of them is caffeine.
Hmm.
And when you read articles, even written by scientific writers in Time Magazine, New England Journal of Medicine, not New England Journal, New York Times, they will talk about the research with coffee, good. But at the end, they'll say caffeine is good for you. No, no, no. Don't equate coffee with caffeine. So, what we've learned in the last 20 years, and all my brilliant colleagues agree with me, is that inflammation is the enemy. Whether it's obesity, COVID, Alzheimer's, Parkinsonism, cirrhosis, arthritis, and coffee drinkers have the lowest levels of a blood marker, which is often done by your primary care once a year. It's called C reactive protein, CRP. They have the lowest levels of CRP. At the end of my shoelace, there's a piece of plastic. At the end of our chromosomes, an analogy, we have something called telomeres. Telomeres are caps on our chromosomes. They prevent the chromosomes from sticking to each other and from fraying. We can actually do a blood test and measure the enzyme telomerase in white cells in the blood. It's a major discovery. In 2009, Elizabeth Blackburn, a brilliant Australian scientist who's now at Scripps in California, with two other colleagues, got the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for her work on telomeres and telomerase. So, what lowers telomere length, meaning it's not good for you,
Yeah.
more cell
Yeah,
aging.
shortening life.
Stress.
Yeah.
Caregivers of people with Alzheimer's, mothers of chronically severely disabled children. Who has longer telomeres? People who meditate, people on the Mediterranean diet, people who exercise, and people who drink coffee.
Hmm.
Amazing. And the most amazing part of this study is that increased caffeine intake is linked with shortened telomeres. Increased coffee intake is linked with longer telomeres.
It is a pre-reviewed study, Dr.
Oh,
Chopra?
yeah. All published in the best journals Annals of Internal Medicine, New England Journal of Medicine, Lancet, JAMA. So if you take 5-hour energy drinks with a lot of caffeine every day, twice a day, you will die sooner. But if you drink coffee, you will live longer.
So coffee has other constituents. We have not.
1,000 constituents.
Oh my God. I
It,
didn't
it,
know.
it has something called chlorogenic acid, which is one of the richest antioxidants known to man. It has two constituents called caviol and cafestol. In the laboratory, you can take an animal, give it a potent liver toxin, destroys the
Uh,
liver, the animal dies. Now you repeat the study in a similar animal, and before giving the toxin, you give them caviol or cafestol. No liver injury,
oh,
abrogates
oh,
the liver injury. Pretty
fascinating.
amazing.
Fascinating.
And
So,
and right now, 2.25 billion cups of coffee are consumed every day in the world. In Britain, it has overtaken tea as the number one
really,
beverage. Yeah.
I drink coffee. I cannot live without even thinking about
You're
coffee.
going to live forever.
Okay. So that's
And the
really
right
seeing
amount,
the.
the right amount is 2 to 4 cups a day.
That's what I question. That's exactly what I'm doing now. 2 to 4 cups a day. That's
Yeah.
coffee. I'm not you're from the part of north of India. Usually people drink tea. Tea,
That's
tea has
right.
same. Tea has some effect, or coffee is the only one.
For coffee, there are 150 studies. Every 2 weeks, there's another study.
Yeah.
And I get emails from my colleagues around the country Sanjiv, another study on coffee. Tea, there are, to my knowledge, 3 studies. So it does have benefits. One is less carotid in the neck, the carotid artery,
Mm,
less atherosclerosis. So by inference, less stroke.
mm.
Another study, low risk of cognitive decline, early dementia. And a third study, maybe you even live longer drinking tea. But I have a joke. If you substitute your morning cup of coffee with green tea,
Mm.
there will be an immediate loss of 97.4% of any joy you have in this life.
You gave a very bad news to a lot of people. Yeah.
And you know the legend of coffee, do you know where it originated?
Yeah.
It
Brazil,
originated in Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
There was a goat shepherd by the name
That's
of
right. That's right.
Kaldi, and he would take his goats for pasture in a village called Kaffa. And he noticed in one particular village, they were dancing, these goats. They were animated. They were consuming these red berries. So he made a brew out of it. He enjoyed it. There was a monk who would walk by every evening to a monastery and he scolded him, Kaldi, you have partaken of the devil's fruit. He ignored him. After a while, the monk said, let me try it. And he was able to stay up for the late night prayers.
Actually, I attended an Ethiopian coffee ceremony. They do ceremony. Actually, that I took one of the ceremonies of the Ethiopian coffee taking.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Look, so this is a very misunderstanding that coffee has only caffeine. Talks about. I think the
Yeah.
wrong information. A lot of people, caffeine has 1,000 components. you're
Can you
saying,
imagine? Only
and
one of them caffeine.
yeah, and reduces the is stopping at least the progression of reducing the telomeres, the to shorten.
Coffee, longer telomeres. Longer telomeres means you live longer. Shorter telomeres means
Yeah,
you die sooner.
it will reduce the progression of the shortening of the
Yes.
10 years. That's
Yeah.
it. What about
Amazing.
we heard turmeric. Turmeric has some effect also. What do you think?
Turmeric has some benefits. You have to be careful because it can lower the blood sugar when combined with certain other foods. So you have to be a little careful. But there's so much wisdom in Ayurvedic medicine in India,
Yeah,
and most of it is preventive. If you need a liver transplant, no Ayurvedic medicine will help you.
really,
Why? You need a liver transplant. You're going to die
we are going to die.
unless you get a liver. If you need a coronary artery bypass, it's too late now to try and prevent it. But it is preventive. My one concern about Chinese and Indian herbal supplements is quality control.
No, yeah,
Is it pure? Is it contaminated with mercury, lead, arsenic? So you have to get it from a very, very reliable source.
you may have known Leena Pradhan. She is from Harvard. She does check all this quality control of the supplements. That she has a
Yeah,
lab in
yeah,
Harvard.
yeah, good.
Well, what about? Let us talk about longevity part of it. Your colleague in Harvard, our David Sinclair, talks about longevity. NDA, that molecule, something is what Dr. Eric Topol is giving a very different information, conflicting. He is not saying that.
David Sinclair is a very controversial figure at
Yeah,
Harvard Medical School. He's a very
yeah.
bright guy, and the red wine extracts claiming that it increases longevity. Now, I'll tell you what increases longevity. I've written a book about this. It's
Hmm.
called The Big Five. Five things we can do based on scientific evidence to live longer. And the first one is coffee. When I wrote that book, there were 41 pages on coffee, first chapter. Then so much more research came out. As you know, I wrote a separate book on just coffee. The second, we all know, exercise. The third, women with breast cancer after surgery who exercise have lower recurrence than those who do not. Exercise has multiple, myriad health benefits. The third is the only vitamin I recommend unless you're deficient or you're pregnant or you're on certain drugs like Dilantin methotrexate. And what is that vitamin? It's actually a hormone, vitamin D3, the sunshine vitamin. Good for muscles, bones, immune system, maybe even lower mortality. And here's the sad thing: young children playing soccer in Florida, which is the sunshine state,
Hmm.
m- many, many, many are turning out to be vitamin D deficient. And the
Huh.
reason, the primary care and dermatologists have done a very good job saying put sunblock. So when you put sunblock, you don't absorb vitamin D from the sun. Skin makes D1,
Oh,
liver converts it to D2, and the kidney converts it into D3. So coffee, exercise, vitamin D3. The fourth one, amazing. It's an article in the New England Journal of Medicine some years ago. Eat a small amount of nuts, you live longer. Even if you don't exercise, even if you're overweight, I don't share this part with patients, you live longer. And all the nuts, cashew nuts, almonds, walnuts, pistachio, even peanuts, which is not a nut, it's a legume.
yeah.
Now, do studies: eat peanuts, you live longer. And the fifth one is meditation. So when the book came out, I did about 20 events, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, radio, TV. I told the moderator, I said, there are five things, but give me 15 seconds at the end to summarize in a way that the listener will remember. And they all did that. So I said, here's the deal. On a good sunny day, go for a brisk walk to your favorite Java shop. Now you got the vitamin D from the sun, you got the exercise, and you got the coffee. Three out of the five things. Number four, don't go nuts remembering this.
You know, the,
And number five, before you go, meditate. Now you got all five. There's an ancient Indian saying you should meditate once a day. And if you don't have time to do that, you should meditate twice a day.
your brother, Dr. Deepak Chopra, made a American public about meditation as his central theme, and it became well known in
Yeah.
the healthcare industry, in the general population itself in the United States, all over the world probably. So, Dr. Chopra, you are one of the under recognized in that sense. You should be as popular as your brother. He's a,
You know, in some ways, I'm more popular. I'm
yeah,
not bragging, but you know what happened on 4th of July,
yeah,
Independence Day this year?
yeah,
250th anniversary of America's Independence Day,
yes. You tell us.
250 years.
Yeah,
The Carnegie Foundation, Andrew Carnegie came from Scotland. He was penniless, became the richest man in America
yeah,
with railways, and he has a foundation. And the Carnegie Foundation honored 25 people out of out of 52 million first generation immigrants like you and me. And there was a full page with our color photograph. I was one of them, and it was entitled Great Americans, Great Immigrants. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. My
yeah.
brother was thrilled. He was thrilled.
Definitely. Just let me get back to the coffee a little bit. Some people boil the coffee. Is it a good idea? Or in India, we decantion they call. They put on the filters and they do that. I use my K cups.
Yeah, so I there's a award-winning Emmy award-winning reporter and producer on Channel 5 ABC television in New York, in New England, Nicole Estefan. And she sent me a text about 2 years ago. I'm doing a segment on coffee, Sanjiv. Are you interested? She had interviewed me previously on a book. I said, Nicole, I wrote a book on it.
Yeah.
Let me send it to you. So she comes with the video guy and she interviews me for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 30-minute show. It's apparently been aired 7 times. And I'm at the start, at the end, then other people. And at the end, she even puts up my book. And then she says, Sanjay, final question. What's the best way to drink coffee? I said, Nicole, the best way to drink coffee is to drink coffee with a friend.
Yeah. What?
And
What?
that went viral. I said, now I'll give you the scientific answer. If you don't have diabetes, you can add sugar, you can add milk cream. I drink it black. Number two, if you go to a coffee shop, don't get dark roast. Dark roast is consistent in its tastes and aroma, so people like it and get used to it. But in the process of roasting it to become dark, they destroy some of the healthy constituents.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, so get either medium roast or get light roast. And I don't put sugar, I don't have diabetes. I stopped in the late 80s, and after 10 days, I don't miss the sugar. You know, sugar and salt, for all the listeners, is an acquired taste, and it's not good for us.
Yeah.
If it's sugar, here's a very interesting study. If you eat fruits, you have a low risk of type 2 diabetes. If you drink fruit juices, you have a higher risk of type 2 diabetes.
Sanjay Gupta is from. He says that we are not. The evolution was that we are supposed to take a fruit, actual fruit, whenever
Yeah,
we in processed food, and then take the juice and all those things, and that was never our biology. Is not really evolved to the drinking juices and processed things. That's what it said. Yeah.
yeah, he's very right. He's a very bright guy. He's a neurosurgeon by training. You know, I've been to Singapore 8 times. I just came back. I happened to give 5 or 6 talks. Took my faculty from Harvard Medical School. Each of us gave 3 or 4 talks. Now look at how progressive Singapore is.
Yeah.
The tax on fast food is so high that it is more expensive than regular food. You go
Huh.
to McDonald's, you pay much more than you pay in America.
Mm, interesting. So that's best way to reduce the
Yeah, I mean,
reduce.
yeah, economic principles always work.
Yeah. I just want to ask you. I'm a South Indian. I eat a lot of rice. Just your view on the rice, because Chinese and Indians we drink, particularly South India, we take a lot of rice. Rice is the
I
staple food.
haven't seen any single study talking about the health benefits of rice.
Yeah,
As you said, in South India, a lot of rice. In North India, chapatis, wheat, parathas.
yeah,
Um, but the fact that in South India they drink so much coffee, you guys
yeah,
have a leg up. And
yeah,
South people from South India, I think, are in general very bright, intellectual. They're very good at mathematics, statistics. The movie about Ramanujan,
yeah.
the man who saw the
I
man
did.
who saw infinity.
Yeah,
Amazing movie.
absolutely. So there is another gentleman from your Harvard Medical School. A long time ago died. Is from my hometown. Dr. Yellapagada Subbarao. Dr.
Yeah,
Yellapagada Subbarao.
yeah,
He
I
is
don't know
about,
him.
yeah. He died in 1948
Oh,
in
I see.
Stanford.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was in the faculty of Harvard long time ago. He was the inventor of the methotrexate. That's but
yeah.
yeah, but I wanted to ask you, the more important question is that you are the prime example of longevity. You're talking, your mind is what is that? Body is a one thing, mind is also extremely important. How was the mind you are maintaining such a all this information at this age? I get.
I think the greatest thing I ever did was more than 45 years ago when I learned transcendental meditation,
Hmm,
TM. And I do it every day for 20 minutes without fail. Sometimes in the evening, I'm busy, there are guests, dinner, I might do 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
yeah,
But it increases coherence, clarity, confidence. The analogy is that you and I are taking an elevator from the base. There's the elevator going from the basement to the 100th floor. I get on the 15th floor. You get on the elevator on the 30th floor. We're both ascending.
yeah.
You're unfolding your own potential.
There's a lot of people, physicians themselves tell you reduce coffee. That's one thing I did not. Uh, are they talking without? What kind of advice you give to the physicians who give this wrong advice? Sometimes I feel that is wrong advice in my view. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
wrong.
you're absolutely right. Tomorrow, if somebody listening to me and you now goes to their primary care physician and say, I heard coffee is really good for you. You know what they're going to say?
Yeah.
Everything in moderation. These studies come and go. No,
Okay.
they don't come and go. For coffee, they keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. They're
Yeah.
not going. Every study shows benefit.
Yeah.
So Schopenhauer, German philosopher,
Yeah.
said it best. He said, all truth goes through three phases. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. And third, it is accepted as being self evident.
Yeah.
10 years from now, everyone will say, coffee? Of course. We always knew it was good for you. But
Yeah.
it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah. you know what about, besides coffee, I wanted to ask you something different for longevity. Intermittent fasting. Well, I eat one meal a day, like 14 hours I give a gap.
So,
What do you think?
intermittent fasting, recently there's been some evidence that it's not as good as it was hyped up to be. But intermittent fasting means you don't eat for 16 hours.
Yeah,
Now, so if you have your last meal at 6 in the evening, you finish your dinner at 6 in the evening, you're not supposed to eat anything till 10 in the morning. One exception, you can drink coffee.
yeah, that's what I do. That's
and,
exactly that's
and
what I
people
do.
lose weight. People lose a lot of weight.
That is saved me honestly. I strongly believe that, sir, because I'm a coffee drinker. I strongly believe, and I'm the example that you're one of your patients. I am, that I can tell you, I can testify that coffee saved me in a lot of ways, and also increase. One of the thing is this is a misnomer is that we have as you grow older, your brain goes down. You forget. Uh, Actually, I became more powerful in my mind thinking and wisdom is increased.
Yeah,
Maybe I
awesome.
forget where my keys are or certain things, but it is really powerful. Coffee kept me. I thought that coffee is the key, kept me my mind sharpened.
So,
And
we are facing an epidemic all over the world as we're getting older and older of Alzheimer's dementia.
yeah,
And early stages, we call it precognitive decline. So, what can we do to mitigate,
yeah,
not prevent, but lower the risk of developing or delay it? And there are a few things we can do. And the first one, again, is exercise, physical exercise.
yeah,
The second is coffee. The
yeah,
third is meditation.
yeah,
The fourth is having social connectedness, having lots of friends, or even a cadre of friends, spending time with them, right? So there are these simple things that we can do to mitigate the risk of Alzheimer's. The biggest epidemic in America right now is not obesity, it's not cancer, it's not some viral infection, it is the loneliness epidemic.
yes,
Vivek Murthy, who was a
yeah.
resident at Brigham and Women's Hospital, then became US Surgeon General under President Obama, traveled all over the country, wrote a book about this.
I met him actually. Yeah,
He's
that's
a
right.
brilliant, brilliant young man,
Yes.
Vivek Murthy. And if you feel lonely, and you don't have to be alone to feel lonely, you can be sitting with five people and you're feeling lonely.
Lonely.
And if you feel loneliness, biggest epidemic in America right now. There's a greater
What is
risk of
the
heart attack, stroke, and dementia.
Yeah. What is the reason you think that loneliness came all of a sudden? We used to be living in India, joint families, talking
Yeah,
together.
I, th-
So,
I think it is. What's happened socially right now. You may not even know the neighbor two houses down your street,
yeah,
right? The other thing that is happening is, people are looking at their iPhones all the time. They're not making eye contact.
mm, yeah,
This happening in children, and we need to change that.
yeah.
Uh, I heard a story about four young couples in New York went to a fancy restaurant. It took them 4 months to get a reservation. Now they're sitting at the restaurant, and all eight of them are looking at their iPhones. They're not even talking to each other.
Yeah.
So one of the young ladies called the waiter and said, "Can you bring an empty bread basket?" So he got it. She said, "Everyone, put your iPhones in there. Whoever picks it up first is paying for the bill."
That's the
And it
best way to
worked.
see. That's the
It
best way
worked.
to see. But don't you think it's a physician community should raise alarm about this kind of a, physicians are not they're advocating patients' health, but they're not advocating population health. That is a big thing. You're doing this right
That's a
now.
great point. That's an absolutely great point. I think, physicians by and large are still very respected by society. So it's our job as physicians. I do some of this with the American Liver Foundation, is to go to middle schools
Mm,
and talk to the young people about obesity, health, exercise, stress. We need to do more of that.
yeah. And also at the national level, there must be a policy structure is to be in place, a standardized a standard process, a policy structure from Washington D.C. All the way to the bottom. We need some kind of a this technology is unbounded technology encroachment in our lives. It's good
Yeah.
for you. You and me are talking together. It's the same thing like a food. If food is good, but if you eat too much, that's a problem. And technology too much is also a problem in that
Sure.
sense. So I think there must be a national policy. Let me ask you, if I'm a I'm a Hindu. I pray Hindu gods, and you're Hindu. I don't know you're Hindu or Sikh, but
I'm
whatever it
Hindu.
is,
Yeah.
Hindu. So, is the Hinduism has made anything differential in our lives and the changing uh, any kind of understanding about life better than, I would not say better than other
Yeah, yeah.
people.
So,
It's a different
so
way
I,
to
I,
help
I have
us.
two, I have two comments. The first one is often get asked the question, what is the difference between meditation and prayer?
Yeah,
And Deepak, I think, was at Oprah Winfrey, and she asked him this question, my brother.
yeah.
And he says, in prayer, we speak to God. In meditation, God speaks to us. How good is that, right?
Very
Beautiful
good.
definition. So,
Excellent. Yeah.
beautiful definition. Now, it turns out if we are thinking of longevity, there are 5 places in the world that are referred to as blue zones.
Yeah.
And in these blue zones, Okinawa, a place in Sardinia, a place in Greece,
South
uh,
America. South America.
Costa Rica, and the only one in America is Loma Linda, small place in California.
Oh, really? Ecuador,
Yeah,
Ecuador, Ecuador in
yeah,
South
yeah,
America.
yeah. Loma Linda.
Loma.
Now they're mostly Seventh Day Adventists. They take each care of each other. They
Really?
don't drink. They don't smoke, and they live longer. This they call the blue zones because the researchers, when we're doing the research, had a map of the world, and they took a blue magic marker and circled these 5 places in the world. So it became blue zones. The sixth one now is going to be Singapore. People in Singapore, average life expectancy is close to 90 years. Very
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
In Japan, a few months ago, 100,000 people were recorded as being over 100 years of age. But Japan, it's an aging society, and they don't intermarry, and they're very concerned about what's going to happen to the population. You can't be a citizen in Japan unless you're Japanese.
You have a lot of wisdom, and I wanted to ask you, aging itself, longevity. Is it the purpose of aging? Is what is these people? Technology people wanted to live longer forever. Is that purpose, or is the purpose of doing something that with the longevity? I'm a little bit.
Yeah,
What
I
is
think,
that?
I think, I think,
Or they want to dominate people because they want to dominate because they want to be in control of other people. What
yeah,
is the purpose
I
of
think
longevity?
I think you're right. I think it's more important to look at biological age, not chronological age,
Yeah,
right? What if you're 90, but you're bedridden or you're demented, you have Alzheimer's? What is the quality of life? No good.
no good.
The oldest physician was who died some years ago was a neurologist at Cleveland Clinic. He died at 103 years.
Hmm.
At age 100, he was still seeing patients.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable, right?
Yes.
So now, the second part of the question could be, what is the purpose of life? What is happiness? So I've written a book on this. I give talks around the country, around the world.
Please tell us. We need to know.
And there are 4 things that are the underpinnings of being happy. And the first one is having a cadre of good friends. Your friends are your chosen family. I got very lucky with my one brother, my parents, but I didn't have any choice. I was born into that family.
That's it.
But you can choose your friends. Robert Louis Stevenson said, a friend is a gift you give to yourself.
Beautiful.
Khalil Gibran
I
said,
love that.
friendship is a sweet responsibility, never an opportunity. The longest standing study on adult happiness started 85 years ago at Harvard.
Hmm.
It's called the Harvard Grant Study on adult happiness. It's still ongoing. What study goes on for 85 years?
Hmm.
Funding disappears, people die, people drop out. A few years ago, 19 was still alive, more than 91 years of age. And many studies, books, TED Talks. One of the major conclusions is your satisfaction relationships with friends is one of the strongest predictors of health, happiness, and longevity decades later. More important than your EKG, your cholesterol, your CRP.
Yeah,
That's friends. Number one is ability to forgive. If you hold bitterness or rancor in your heart, you can never be truly happy, right?
beautiful.
Mahatma Gandhiji said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison. Can you imagine 27 hours or days? When he's released, Mr. Mandela, do you harbor resentment, bitterness against your captors? He said, I have no bitterness, I have no resentment. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies.
Yeah.
It'll only kill you. Louis Smetty's a theologian. Beautiful saying. He said, to forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover the prisoner was you,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
You're only holding yourself back. So, friends, forgiveness. The third one is to serve others, do things for others. Albert Schweitzer, Nobel laureate, once said, I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I'm certain of, the ones amongst you who will be truly happy are those who have sought and found how to serve.
yeah.
Servant leadership now. So I've
Yeah.
distilled
I
it into
wanted to
three
stop you.
F's. I've
I wa-
distilled it into three F's: friends, forgiveness for others. But the fourth one begins with G, and it's not God, it's
Gratitude.
gratitude. But happiness is more than the sum total of happy moments. And for you and me to have enduring happiness, feel happy most of the time, we have to find our purpose in life and live it. Mark Twain famously said, the two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why.
You know, Dr. Chopra, this is a big thing that I'm concerned, very concerned in this country is that every lost G. Gratitude is replaced by greed, the corporate greed. They are.
Yeah.
It's really taking over. What is your point on? What do you take on? Your take on it? You know.
So there's a simple way to live with gratitude. and Robert Emmons, considered one of the fathers of modern positive psychology, has written a paperback. It's called Thanks: How the New Science of Gratitude Can Make You Happier. And he did a very simple study years ago. He took a large group, randomized half of them, he said, for the next 6 weeks, every day at the end of the day, write down in a book, your notebook, three random things you did. The other half, randomized, write down three things you're grateful for. At the end of 6 weeks, the people who expressed gratitude, their happiness quotient went through the roof.
Hmm.
Everyone's heard of IQ, right? And then people say, no, more important than IQ is EQ, your emotional quotient.
Right.
No, I disagree. The most important Q is HQ, your happiness quotient.
As a new, you got a new coefficient invented.
Yeah, so
I'm going
simple.
to
You
put it
don't
in my
even have to do it
mathematics.
every day. Once a week on Sunday, as you're looking at what's in store for you next week, reflect on what happened the last 7 days. In 1 minute, write down in your gratitude journal what you're grateful for.
Dr.
Low
Chopra,
tech.
I think I love that HQ part of it. The reason was, HQ, IQ, HQ should be, I'm a mathematician and physicist. I love to quantify that process. You can quantify. Eventually, we can quantify these products and put in the system itself. I think we are governed by these quantifiable systems like a HQ, IQ, EQ, whatever you. I think our life gets better
So
because we
there's,
are.
by the way, there's research about this. There
Yeah,
is a formula
yeah,
for happiness, and it's based on research looking at monozygotic twins and comparing them to dizygotic twins. And what it says is your happiness and my happiness, 50% is a set point. It's genetic. You know of families where there are three children and two of the kids are happy, and the third one, same parents, not happy. 50% is genetic, set point. Only 10% is living conditions. Whether you live in a mansion in Beverly Hills or in the slums of Calcutta or the shanty towns of Jowtown,
yeah,
10%, you have a roof and water, you're happy.
yeah.
And 40% is voluntary action, what we can do to make others happy. But even that 50% set point can be modulated by exercise, antidepressants, behavioral cognitive therapy, meditation, but most importantly, gratitude.
I interviewed uh, Steve Jobs' roommate. He's still alive. He's very
Oh, wow.
healthy. I interviewed him on my podcast. What he said was very interesting, Dr. Chopra. That he said that when he went to India, the beggars, he was surprised about the beggars. He said they look so happy. He was not even, he couldn't believe that a beggar could be
Yeah,
happy. Yeah,
absolutely. You remember the movie Slumdog Millionaire?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, these people were happy. They're celebrating weddings and births and dancing in the streets. Happy.
Dr.
You know,
Chopra.
I'll tell you amazing. When I give my talk on happiness and living with purpose, and I see people taking pictures of my slides, I said, you don't have to do this. Whoever organized this talk will give you access to all my slides, and you can use them, you can modify them. You don't even have to give me attribution. I call it copy left. But then I encourage them to ask their children, grandchildren, nieces, young people to complete the phrase, happiness is. So one of the deans in Massachusetts, she wrote to me 5 days after I gave this grand rounds. She said, I went over your talk with my husband, but I asked my 5-year-old daughter, what is happiness? And my daughter immediately answered, Mommy, happiness is when the heart feels bigger. Can you imagine? 5-year-old.
5-year-old.
The less than 3 years of age, son of a surgeon at Harvard, I gave surgical grand rounds. Then we had coffee. He said, Sanjiv, my son is 2 years, 10 months. I asked him, what makes you happy? He said, Daddy, I'm most happy when I'm sharing my toys with my friends. John Lennon, the Beatle, 5 years of age, goes to school. And the teacher gives the kids, write down what you want to be when you grow up. He writes happy and he hands it to the teacher. And the teacher says, John, you didn't understand the assignment. He's 5 years of age. He looks up at the teacher and he says, and you don't understand life.
Dr. Chopra, the last question I'm going to ask you about dharma. Dharma is one of the Indian word that
Yeah, yeah.
is what is your uh, understanding of dharma, and what do
Oh,
you
great
think?
question. Dharma, Sanskrit word, I think it incorporates moral compass, authenticity, vocation, truth. And if you find and live your dharma, you'll be one of the happiest people on this planet.
Yeah.
I found my dharma at age 12,
Mm.
studying at St. Columbus High School in New Delhi, staying with my uncle and aunt. My dad was posted 300 miles away. So we're going to this so called preeminent all boys school, play a cricket match on a weekend. It's very hot, sultry. We would have dinner at 9 o'clock. My uncle, aunt, my brother Deepak and I. 7:30, I'm reading something. I'm not feeling well. I put the book down. I wake up 35 minutes later and I'm terrified. My eyes are wide open. I'm blind. I can't see.
Mm.
Everything is black. So I nudged Deepak. I said, Deepak, I can't see. He must have done visual threat and figured I wasn't faking it. So he started to cry. I have one brother, he's turned blind. My uncle takes me to the military hospital
Mm.
in Delhi. The doctors don't have the foggiest idea. And they're saying, maybe it's hysterical. You know, if you're faking it, you come from the side with a pencil, pretend to poke the eye, and of course you see it and you blink. Finally, they get a hold of my father. This is 1961. He's in an army jeep. And he very calmly says, tell me everything that's happened to Sanjeev in the last 2 months. So he's been fine. No, no, any injuries, accidents, medicines? Oh, yeah. He had a laceration to his right leg, was taken to the casualty ward, got stitches. Did he get an antibiotic? They looked, mentioned it. Did he get a tetanus shot? Very proudly, they said yes. He asked one more question. What kind of tetanus shot? Anti-tetanus serum, ATS, or anti-tetanus toxoid? So they looked and they said anti-tetanus serum. I don't know how my father divined it. Cardiologist, but he knew everything in medicine, intuition. He said Sanjeev is having a rare idiosyncratic reaction to the anti-tetanus serum that he got 6 days ago. He has bilateral optic neuritis, localized form of serum sickness, His optic nerves are ready to burst. Start an intravenous, give him massive doses of corticosteroids.
Oh, really? Yeah,
And that was, he said it occurs maybe 1 in 200,000, exceedingly rare. So they gave it, and 14, 15 hours later, my vision returned, waking up in military hospital in Delhi. And I said to myself the next day, my dharma is to be a healer like my father.
yeah. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Dr. Chopra, what a treat for us. Really, you really pleasantly surprised me with your wisdom and your blessings. Honestly, that is one of my best interviews in my view. And then, please come back. I want you to
Okay,
come back,
I'll
and,
come back.
I'm going to teach you how to use laptops after that. So, but I tell you, you can contribute to the world so much. That is
Oh,
very
you're very
important.
kind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And then now I know where your the older brother learned from you.
you.
From a younger brother, he learned everything. I can say that. So bring
Yeah.
him next time also when he chance. Thank you so much. It is truly an honor and privilege to have
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much. You're very kind.
Really, guys are really
I
fun.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. All the best.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
We are retelling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it